Ooh, y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't know that it was time for episode 11 of the Swift and SwiftUI Learnalong. Man, you know what? I should have called it the learning experience. The learning experience. Oh well. Guys, welcome to another... Wait, I just did that. Okay. Welcome back, y'all. Okay, so episode 11. I'm going to let people pile in. I know y'all are piling in. I had 22 views the other day. 22 views. That's fucking blazing for me. Y'all don't understand. Okay, so we're going to blow up. All right, and in the process, Swift is going to blow the fuck up. All right, pardon my French, but you chose to watch. Okay, so yesterday we had a pretty... Yesterday was decent. I still feel like maybe 2 days ago was probably like the best, most, the way that I felt like everything landed and hit real nice. It was real nice. I've still yet to get past, I've been able to do the bronze challenges now with, minimal effort, but silver and gold challenges are still bitch slapping me. So there's, I'm not going to say that. And when I say we, y'all have to understand that when I say we, I mean me. We is me, okay? I don't know you yet, right? But like I said, and like I've told you guys before, one of my ambitions in doing this, I hope that somebody's following along. Somebody out there, some ambitious, young, female, no, I'm playing. I'm playing, babe. If you see this, I'm just kidding. If you happen to be female, that's fine, but I'm not interested. Okay, I'm taken. Anyway, like I was saying, it would be cool if I could hire somebody that had at one point watched my stream and learned Swift. Now, hopefully they're better at it than me. Make note, my desire would be to, because I worked for, what's interesting is I worked for a very high-powered, ambitious, driven woman for 10 years. She was the owner, started this, she was a startup before startups were a thing. It was just like, back then it was just called starting a company. Starting a business. Just starting a business. Now it's a startup. So we were technically by the metrics, if you look at the kind of, I don't know how official they are, who cares? Everyone makes up their own fucking little term anyway. But if you look it up, there's some metrics you can look to qualify a startup based off users. Some do it by money or by revenue, annual revenue, stuff like that, or by staff size, whatever. But the point is, this woman really, it's interesting to step back from it. Okay, so this is the intro now, so I'm gonna go into this spiel and then we'll get started. But let me tell you about this woman, because she was a great impact on my life, and I would like to describe her and some of the things that she did, because it speaks directly to what we're gonna end up doing. But it also, it's just a cool story, and I never really... Oh, that's not true. I did tell her, when we parted ways, I told her, thank you. I said my thank yous and all that stuff. But she was a public accountant by trade. And when she was very young, early 20s, she went into public accounting, did that for a few years, and then mid-20s decided she wanted to start a company because she recognized an opportunity. And this was right around, I've talked about this before, whenever in 2008, when Obama introduced FSMA, or he passed the bill, made it law, FSMA, Food and Safety Modernization Act, where basically it introduced and created, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that law. So it's pretty interesting. And I know a lot of companies, a lot of people can say that basically. So FSMA was actually very impactful because it created many jobs, basically a microeconomy, but Also, it introduced, because it depends on what side you're on, right? So for food manufacturers, producers, distributors, anybody dealing with food products, it introduced really quite a heavy expense, a big burden on them, in the sense that if they weren't already capable of performing a recall, if they didn't already have the system in place to effectively know what every lot that came into their inventory, like they needed to know what happened to it. Where did it come from? What date did we receive it on? How much of it? What containers were it in? Where was it placed? What products was it used in? When we made those products and packed them up, who did we ship them to? Did we do any inventory adjustments? Did we write any of it off? You have to, for every single batch, they call them lots, but the terminology is irrelevant. It's traceability. So if you can imagine, literally, you're a salsa maker and you're putting salt into this giant into a giant kettle, 500-gallon kettle, right? You're mixing all these ingredients up in there. Now you have to know where it all came from and where it all went. It's very complicated. And so she saw that law, right? And she jumped at this opportunity. Somehow found some developers. I'm not going to go into all that, but she found some developers and they built what we called cradle to grave. And if you've never heard, they called it a data cube. I always hated that term, but it's basically, if you ever heard of OLAP, OLAP, it's really more of an architecture, but it's a way of, like, your relational databases are OLTP, and these are just more or less architectures, environments that are present in the hypervisor or the hardware. It just depends on if you're virtualized or not, but it doesn't really matter. But one is more conducive to high throughput, which is what you want if you're running, say, your traditional client server, and this was the space I worked in forever. So let's say you have, your desktop applications like SAP Business One or Sage or NetSuite or whatever, the shit that you probably work in at your job if you're a purchaser, if you work for a big enterprise or something along those lines. And so when you have a bunch of people working on their workstations and then everyone's connecting to the same database somewhere, through whatever machinations and networking that are set up, you need high throughput because there's constantly new transactions coming, blah, 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 blah. But whenever you want to analyze and kind of effectively create a what do you call them, in Excel, pivot chart? I don't know why that sounds weird, but I think that's right. But basically, that's what you're doing when you create a pivot chart. It's a cube. But it's just a way of storing the data in a way that's conducive to analysis and making correlations within the data, which is what cradle to grave is, because you're essentially tracking, and you have to track its relation to dates across many, many transactions, and quantities across many, many transactions, and its association to other lot numbers and batches in many, many transactions. So those are just architectures, right? So, but that's what they built. And so the law says that if there's a recall, and they would do these, like Costco is a good example. A lot of our customers were just graduating. That was the space that we played in. So anywhere from 500 to 3,000 employees, but generally speaking, they were businesses that were going from the point where they were graduating into a new system, and so they would find us, or we would find them. So she did that, and that was something that the market, and frankly, I've yet to see. This was really the only thing that kept us in business. That company eventually got purchased, so I'm not with them anymore. But a lot of the technology was pretty old, but it was that one feature and the momentum from that drove everything else. And so the law states that if you are audited, so whether it's a mock audit, mock recall, or a real one, the requirement is that you have 4 hours to produce. Like an auditor will come in, they'll pull your reports, they'll pick, sometimes they'll walk around, look for anything crazy, and then for the final test, if you will, they'll go grab a random raw material or a couple of them, bring you the barcode, and then they'll tell you, show me where all this has gone. And normally they're going to go pick something most people would deem difficult, like things that you would keep in a drum that aren't even individually packaged. You just kind of got to weigh them. So you start with 100 pounds, and then over time you have to update that label on that canister, because if you use half of it, it ain't 100 pounds no more, is it? So that's not really accurate. You can't leave it there. So you have to have not only software in place to handle these things, but also procedures are equally as important, because you still need operators to operate the software and give it data. It's not automatic, not by a long shot. And so they would go and say, okay, there's a drum of spice over there. Scan that lot number. Okay, that's the lot. Now show me everywhere that this has gone. And you got 4 hours to do it. 4 hours. Our system did it in 4 minutes, and it was all in one interface. It's pretty sick. Now, why was I saying all? Oh yeah. Okay. So back to the great woman that I work for. Well, she just saw that as an opportunity. She's not a lawmaker. She's not a food expert. She wasn't any of those things. She was an accountant. But she took a chance on something that she thought would hit it big, and it did. Boy, did it. And so almost for 40 years, always remained small, and she was always the primary salesperson. So effectively, if she wasn't out there selling, at some point we would have been in hot water, But it was always this balance between, because we were maybe 15 people, we would kind of fluctuate. But so you have this, on the one hand, you have this cash flow issue, but then you have this capacity issue too, because you need to finish these implementations, and these are not small projects. I mean, we would sell it like 90 days, but it was, in reality, it's like, you ain't getting that done. You're not replacing your system. It's a total migration. You're not completely replacing your system, and you're talking about a complete cutover of infrastructure, data handlings, procedures in your software, and training your staff. It's a very large undertaking. So to sell it in 90 days was bullshit, and I always hated that about pushing it as this turnkey thing. But everybody, it's not, and this is partially why I'm doing what I'm doing now, but that is not a reason to do it just because everybody else is doing it. But in some sense, you have to think too, if I want to survive out here as a business, you have to get your foot in the door. And if everybody else is saying it, then what are you going to do? So I'm not gonna harp on that. I don't have any, whatever. But the interesting thing about her is that she found something that worked. And even though we were doing something or working with a tool that was very, quite old, Visual Fox Pro, if you ever heard of it, I'm sure you haven't. And consider yourself lucky, but this was a Microsoft technology that they killed some time ago, and even still, up until 2023, this is a product that was being sold and beating out things like NetSuite and what's another one? We would run into Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics. We'd run into that a lot, simply for that manufacturing piece, for that cradle to grave piece. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I'm telling you all this because one of the things that I learned from this woman that I'll always treasure is that if you have a feeling about something, and if you think it's worth pursuing, don't wait. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Go and see. Go down the path and see. If you have to turn back, you can fucking turn back. If you got to hop off onto another track, you can do that too. Things are not so black and white. You don't always have to just be stuck in the thing that you choose, but you can get stuck in indecision. I know that better than anybody. You can get stuck on, I don't want to learn the wrong tool. I don't want to do this. You're procrastinating. You're fucking off time. You're wasting time. Try it. And I'm talking to myself here. I'm not trying to be high and mighty. I'm talking to myself. Trust me, I did it for like a year. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but you can feign a lot of progress can be faked and phony, even to yourself, if you're not doing the right things. If you don't have a goal in mind, if you're just kind of doing it to make yourself feel better, kind of a thing. And so I was toiling a bit, and so a number of things have happened. I'm not going to get into it right now, but because I want to get into learning the Swift. But I just wanted to say that I have so much respect for that woman because of the things that she was able to achieve, and I'm grateful for the things in the messaging that she passed on, because if nothing else, she was she really showed me that you can't buy too much into what the things that you're hearing. So I'm not saying that gender equality and the pay gap and all that stuff, I'm not saying those aren't issues that may or may not be addressed, or even need to be addressed. I don't know. This is not a political stance. All I'm telling you is that when you spend 10 years working for an enigma, for an anomaly, if you listen to the media, she's an anomaly. This is a woman that's everybody's boss. She owned it. She created this. And she's out there selling to other prominent white men, and they're choosing her. How is that happening? If things are so unequal, right? It's hard to adopt that when you have somebody at the helm that's just breaking all the rules. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. You're a woman. What? Working on dead technology, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just saying it's impressive. And if you want to do something, you can. In this country, you can. I can't speak for everybody, but I can tell you in this country you can, to the extent that we're talking about business, because I saw a woman do it, and I worked for her and learned from her for 10 years. And so what you got to say? Because all I really see is that there ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I'm saying? So seriously, that's what she would tell me. It's the biggest thing. Out of all the people she ever, quote unquote, did better than or surpassed or outlasted or what have you, it all just comes down to discipline, repetition, keeping your eye out for things, being open-minded, take care of your customers. It doesn't sound so crazy, right? It does, yeah. So that's what we're going to try to do. So shout out to Linda Bryan, the great Linda Bryan. If you ever see her, count yourself lucky. But yeah, I called her Kathy, Chatty Kathy. So shout out to Kathy. She always thought that was hilarious. I didn't think it was that funny. It was I was always joking at work, but like that was one of my, when you just kind of, that's a throwaway joke. Like it's not even one of my good ones. And then somebody, oh snap, maybe I'll give y'all a sneak peek, because this dude from LinkedIn, he just messaged me back. He was talking about this job opportunity. It sounded good. What's going on here? Okay, cool. 2 to 5 would be... Yes, sir, that works. 3:30. Okay, cool. Well, you don't get a sneak peek into my recruiter interview, but most of you probably... I mean, it's nothing special, honestly. You know what? Okay, I lied. I'm going to go on one more tangent here, and then we'll get started. Y'all can relax. Holy shit. Calm down. Okay, so what's odd to me about... So, okay, here's what happened. I started working for this company. Like I said, worked for them for 10 years. And then in 2024, this year, February, a couple months ago, I got laid off. And so for the very first time, because we got bought out, and effectively I was the product director / a developer writing mostly Lambdas and like single page web apps, data-driven tools. Anything that I could use. If it was JavaScript and SQL, then like give it to me, because I wanted to learn those things, and then a little bit of Golang, and then that's about it. So I mean, nothing overly complex. On the SQL side, I went pretty deep because I was doing the DBA thing for a while. But God damn it, why was I telling y'all that? My short-term memory has been super dookie. Oh yeah. Okay, so what strikes me as odd about LinkedIn and whatnot, because my main point was it's been so foreign to me because I've not been like looking for work, and I'm not in a particular rush now because I'm doing this thing, obviously, but I'm keeping, like I said, learning from the great Linda Bryan. I want to keep my ear to the ground because you don't want to be a fool. You don't just want to be like, nope, I'm gonna go do exactly what she did, So no, I'm fielding recruiters and whatnot, but it's so weird because I was telling my girlfriend this yesterday. I almost feel like recruiters, I don't feel like they're bots because when they message me, because I know bots exist and they have hit me up, and I feel like it's pretty obvious. But some of these guys will hit me up and they're referencing things that are very specific to my resume, or they'll say things like, oh, like, hey, you have experience with Schlumberger. It's an oil and gas company. I did fracking for them, and they'll make reference to like a department, and I know what it is. So I'm like, this can't be a bot. But then they don't respond. Like, man, I'd really like to talk to you. I looked at your resume, blah, blah. They may message me in the morning, 9 o'clock. I'll get back to them at 10 a.m., an hour later, right? They only get back to me for a week. I'm like, do these motherfuckers only, if you don't catch them right then and there, they go to the next website and they don't come back to this one for a whole week? What? I don't know. I really don't understand it. Now, more than likely, I understand. I mean, I guess it's more like, in reality, it's really my ego, because I will admit this, like for the time that I was at that company, I was on top of the world because I got to play in this space where it was effectively not just me. I'm not going to say that I did whatever I wanted, but I had an awesome boss, much like Linda. Linda was not my direct report. Linda was the CEO, and then there was a wonderful woman named Teresa. That was my boss. She reported to Linda. I reported to Teresa. But anyway, it was so empowering to be given the ability to fail, but with encouragement. And I really want to hang on to that because I think that's powerful. And I always made it a point to, when new people would come in, I would bring them under my wing, because I was also we were a small company again, so I'm not trying to make myself seem like Superman, but it was a lot of work, but I was over all the IT stuff too, so I had to set everybody up on all the systems and all that stuff. And I would always just tell people, like, hey, if you want to succeed here, okay, do your best, ask questions, don't make assumptions, and be honest about your estimations, right? Don't bullshit people because we're too small for that. We don't really have like the kind of politics most companies will have. It just doesn't exist here because there's too much everyone's wearing multiple hats, you know what I mean? So the thing that always stuck out to me, though, and I would tell them, I said, if you're going to work for Teresa, because anybody that was in operations basically was going to report to Teresa, I said, if you're going to do that, just make sure that you're very transparent, because she'll be transparent with you. But if she finds out that you're lying, if you're being deceitful, there are trigger, because she's, some people are very nice. They come off as very nice, and some people, not all people, but some people tend to take advantage when they just think they're not going to do anything to them, And there were a few, you can just kind of tell. There's these, I call them lifers. Maybe that's a stupid term for them, but I don't have a better one. But, they're basically, they're your run-of-the-mill, very average Joe kind of just very generic. You can tell they're there to punch the clock kind of a thing. They're not there to be invested. They're not there to really talk about anything involving the business. They don't really care to improve anything. They just want to get to 5 o'clock. And that's okay, but that's not a good fit for that place, or at least for what it was. But yeah, so now I've done lost. I forgot what I was talking about any of this shit, to be honest with you. The point is, Linda is awesome. Take advantage of your opportunities. Don't be lazy. Try shit. Actually try. Don't just watch. Try. Do it. Type it. That's why I'm trying my best. I am trying my best not to copy and paste. And that's why I don't copy and paste. Okay, so now let's get started. I'm ready to get started because I don't forgot where I was going with that. But you chose to watch. No, I'm playing. Okay, so sets, chapter 11. Chapter 11. Hey, Jer. Oh, guys, by the way, I got my producer here, Jer. He's going to be doing he's going to be running point for me, technical things, editing, stuff like that. Ain't that right, Jared? We didn't get him a mic yet, but this isn't a radio show, so, but yeah, go ahead and we'll fix that in post, Jared. We've cut that shit out. Cut that shit out. Now, and I want you guys to remember too that eventually, and we'll let you know when, but all of these condensed versions, so cut out all of my soliloquies, these Swift learning videos will eventually, by episode 20 was my commitment to y'all, will be a playlist on YouTube. So we'll let you know when it's ready. And there will also be, if you don't have Telegram, if you don't know what Telegram is, you better find out. So go ahead and Google it. It's a messaging app, kind of like WhatsApp, but way better. And the reason I recommend getting it, for one, it's free. There is a paid premium version, but it's only $30 a year, and you get an amazing set of features. So I would definitely look into it. But even free, it's awesome. So you should definitely do it. And the reason you should get it, you can publish channels on it. And so I'm going to use Telegram to create what they call a channel. You can make it public. And effectively, it's going to be just a collection of all the snippets, code snippets, things to remember, anything that we highlight in the book here. So all of the, effectively I guess you could call them the cliff notes of what we're doing in this course. Because you'll have to remember, we still have SwiftUI after this. We're just barely a quarter of the way through this 800-page book on Swift alone. Then we're going to do SwiftUI. We're going to do some planning, and then we're going to get back into iOS programming to learn the platform itself and the APIs. It's going to be a lot of shit. Pardon my French. A lot of stuff. Jared, fix that in post. So stay diligent. I would say take your own notes. Just on, if you can't type it down, put it on scratch paper. Don't rely on the fact that, the notes will be there. You're not going to learn nothing. Not going to learn nothing, baby. And no, but really though. Okay, so now with that out of the way, now we get sets. Okay, chapter 11, sets. Swift provides a third collection type called set. The third meaning one of three, meaning, what was the first one? Tuples? Tuples and arrays? Or would it be arrays and... It doesn't matter. Set is not frequently used, but we do not think... Set is not frequently used, but we do not think that this should be the case. Okay. This chapter will introduce set and show off some of its unique advantages. Cool. Right, and we learned that Swift they're a little loose with their use of the word collections even. So collections is at the top, and it's like a catch-all in a sense. It doesn't represent any direct semantic, it doesn't, no, that's right, yeah. The key word collections is not it doesn't have semantic meaning anywhere in the Swift language itself, but it describes sets, arrays, and there's dictionaries, right? Yeah, dictionaries. And we just looked at that. So that's kind of like they're using it more in the literal sense, not something Swift specific. So this chapter will introduce set and show off some of its unique advantages. What is a set? A set is an unordered collection of distinct instances, so the opposite of an array. This definition sets it apart from an array, which is ordered and can accommodate repeated values. A set has some similarities to a dictionary, but it is also a little different. Like a dictionary, a set's values are unordered within the collection. Like a dictionary, a set's okay. Also, like a dictionary's keys, the values in a set must be unique. Okay. The values in a set must be. Oh, the values must be unique. So dictionary's keys, which makes sense. So this is what we're looking at, a dictionary right here. So these are the, or sorry. This is a dictionary. And these are the keys. So in this case, Lakers, Suns, OKC would be the keys. And these have to be unique in a dictionary. And so they're saying the opposite is true for sets, where the values, Lakers players, OKC players, Suns players, those have to be unique, which is interesting. And as always, we try to relate this to the problem that we're going to solve, which is going to be an application for starters called MRP Panda that's going to do very impressive MRP calculations for you and plug into any known database, well, the popular ones. But let's think. So for dictionaries, the keys need to be unique, and that makes sense to me because I mean, if nothing else, like, okay, in this example, Lakers represents a key for Laker players, but Laker players is actually an array with multiple values inside of it. But if I'm making a, let's say, a query for Lakers, I don't want the system to allow me to accidentally create two Lakers and possibly have different teammates, because then I get, inaccurate data and duplication. And I don't want that. So that I can see as being useful, and it would make me say, okay, let me reach for a dictionary in this case. When I have a set of data, but I know for a fact and I want the system to enforce uniqueness at the key level. Now, but why would I want uniqueness amongst a value, but still have, I mean, I can imagine this is why it's rarely, they just said it's not used often, and that's probably why nothing's coming to mind. You know what? I'm gonna noodle on that, and we'll come back to it, but we'll keep going. I really can't think of, at least not present moment. Okay, so we were that must be unique. Yeah. Also, like dictionaries keys, the values in a set must be unique. A value can only be added to a set once. To ensure that elements are unique, set requires that its elements follow the same rule as dictionaries keys, being hashable, which you will learn about in chapter 25. Okay. And yesterday we asked the Oracle, so let's just go find that. I just want to know, what the definition of, like, what does it mean to be hashable? So at a very technical level, that means it conforms to the hashable protocol. Okay, well, what is that? So the requirement, this is a requirement for a type. If you want to use instances that type as keys in a dictionary or store them in a set, the hashable protocol inherits from the equatable protocol, meaning hashable type must also provide an, oh, that's right. Okay, so it needs to be able to effectively support the equality operator by virtue of a comparison. So that's basically what it means. So basically almost anything, at least anything that we've touched so far kind of meets that criteria. So yeah, maybe in chapter 25 that would change. However, while dictionary values are accessed via their corresponding key, a set only stores individual elements. Oh, okay, so they're not key value pairs. Okay, does that change anything? only stores individual. It's not. I don't think so. I need to see it. I don't know. Table 11.1 summarizes Swift's 3 collection types. Oh, had we only moved it along. All right, yeah. Array, dictionary, set. Array is ordered, dictionary set or not. Arrays don't require uniqueness. Dictionaries require it with their keys, and sets with their elements. And in terms of what they hold inside them, arrays store elements. Key value pairs are in dictionaries and just elements in set. Okay, that's handy. I'm gonna definitely. Honestly, I should probably put that on the wall. Getting a set. Create a new macOS playground. I wonder why they call it a macOS playground. Called groceries. Called groceries. And I'm still yet to find a. Y'all, if anyone's been watching this stream, you know that I loathe macOS, and I still do. Like, it's so weird. Xcode in the upper left-hand corner. Xcode is still running somewhere, but I closed the window. Well, so it's still running, and you know this because there's a little dot by it. And the obvious, guys, duh. So easy to use. So let me go down here, show all windows. Oh, they're not any. There's no windows open? Wait, you say these are windows? Oh, whoops. No, they're not. They're playgrounds that I opened in the past, but they're not fucking open right now. You just opened it right there. My guy? What? Like, I really don't understand how it got this popular. I'm not bashing on Macs. I love, the hardware is like unmatched. No one can argue that. Not my favorite keyboard, but still, you can't argue that the machines themselves are pretty incredible in terms of what they're capable of. I just spent $2,500 on a new iPad Pro because I loved it so much and I missed it. I used to have one, I sold it, I regretted it. So it's not that, but macOS itself is dookie. I mean, just terrible. Like the window nav is just. But I digress. We have a programming language to learn, which should speak to the excitement that Swift can generate. And really, I mean, the fact that I'm here suffering with Xcode, well, not even Xcode, just the window nav, period. Point blank, period. Okay, so let me open. I do want a new project, and no, that's not what I want. Now I done forgot how to. God damn it. File, new, playground. There we go. macOS blank. Yep. And you want me to call it groceries. And I'm gonna tag it with my learning tag and then create. And yeah, I know there's like 50 million apps that you can buy to fix the inequities of, or the inadequacies of macOS. Trust me, I know they're all up here. You can see them. I got it. Okay, I got it. But it's still bullshit. All right, create a new macOS called groceries. Create an instance of a set. All right, so now that we're here, wait, let me open my sidebar a little bit. Now, to give it credit, this side, being able to see your values in both forms in terms of like what's being sent to the console and what is actually being processed like in memory effectively in this sidebar is awesome. I used to, for a long time, I found this, if you're not familiar with the world of Python, there's this very popular computation notebook, as they refer to it, called Jupyter Notebooks. And it's very similar to a REPL, like, you know, Swift has a REPL. You can think of it like that, but you're actually, it'll open up in a web browser, or at most, that's the most common place to run it, and still my favorite place to run it. But So open up in a web browser, and then you can, write code in these cell blocks, and then immediately beneath the code block, you can see the result. And so you can have this same style that you're able to get here in Swift by seeing the output. You can do that with Jupyter Notebooks, and you can do all kinds of stuff. They're really neat. If you haven't checked them out, I would check them out if you like Python. But I hate Python. But I did find what's really neat about Jupyter Notebooks that's worth looking into. If you see this kind of visual programming, like if you like this, and I think a lot of people do, because it just makes a lot of sense to me, just to get that quick feedback, from what you're, like the code that you're writing, you're able to see the immediate output and what you're doing. So it's really helpful, if nothing else for newbies, like us. But the cool thing about Jupyter Notebooks, though, they've been around for so long, a lot of other languages have created what they call kernels, which basically just means you can use the Jupyter Notebook interface to write other programming languages in that fashion where you have this kind of immediate feedback. And there was one made for Golang called GoNB, so GONB. Highly recommend if you are a Golang developer and you happen to come across this video, because the person that made that kernel is absolutely incredible. Because not only can you, Go is a compiled language, so normally you don't see that too often, where a statically typed compiled language is being put into a Jupyter kernel. But Go compiles so quickly that it's able to literally, run a code cell, compile, and then show you the output in less than a second. So it almost feels like you're typing a dynamic language, but you're not. That's kind of wild. But what's really neat is, again, the iteration factor, and then you can export it to Go modules. Anyway, that was my preferred way of writing Go, because it was really just a powerful way to do it, being able to see that immediate output. So yeah, go and check that out. It can be a little bit of a pain to set up, but once you got it, it's very handy. But yeah, that is a major upside for Swift, and I'm sure to some extent Jupyter Notebooks had some kind of responsibility in terms of how they inspired that. But how did I wait? Grocery list set. Oh, what am I looking at? I don't know what I was looking at. Grocery list set string. Man, just show me the shorthand already, because you know damn well this isn't. Apples, oranges. I could go for an orange. This doesn't work. What is this? What is these? Did I get that right? Pointy thing. Round. That's a round. Yeah, what's the problem, brother? What's this error say? Oh, you're right. What the hell am I looking at? I was looking down here. My bad. Okay. So, okay, good. All right, so that runs. Your sidebar result might show the elements of the set in a different order. That is fine. Wait, it didn't show it at all. We gotta click here. Apples, oranges. Okay. That is fine. Sets are unordered, so the order shown is irrelevant. Here you make an instance of set and declare that it will hold instances of the string type. It is a mutable set called grocery list, because it's a var, yeah. And has two elements, apples and oranges. Oranges. You initialize your set with an array. Oh, yeah, an array, okay. As with other types, a set can also be immutable, and you could have declared it uninitialized. Also, like many other types, you can initialize an empty set for later use. Which was, wait, Y to yank, or Y to yank, P to paste. Oh yeah. And $, end of the line, capital A to insert at the end of the line in insert mode. Go Vim, baby. Okay, so how would we do the, it would be this string var grocery. Right? I can do that. Yeah, baby. Even with it giving me an invalid error. Go away, dude. That's one thing I don't like. That's pretty confusing. Like it doesn't, it will give you false errors sometimes. Wait, now it's not false. You just let me do it though. You're taking me on a roller coaster, buddy. Or grocery list. Oh, because it's, okay, my bad. How about grocery bist? There we go. Okay, so that is valid syntax. You just can't. I had already defined grocery list. Okay, so that's how we would initialize it without, or wait. They just said it. Yeah, here. That's how you initialize an empty set for later use. And then otherwise we just do it like this. Yeah. Oh, I guess, yeah, there's no output, but it's just there. It just exists. Okay, so let's get rid of that because they didn't tell me to do that. Okay, set does not have its own literal syntax like array and dictionary. What does that mean? Is that why nothing prints to the console? Because I know with the array it would print, or the dictionary, it would show it even uninitialized. I don't know. We'll just ask the Oracle. What? In the context of SwiftLang, what does this mean? What? Okay, you're gonna. Oh, y'all can't hear it if I play it here. Then I'll read it. Okay, in the context of Swift, the programming language, saying that set does not have its own literal syntax like array and dictionary means that there is no special shorthand or specific format to directly represent a set using just literals, as there is for array and dictionary. In Swift, you can create an array using square brackets and a list of values. Oh, I see. So that, okay. So you just, okay. So you just have to be explicit and use the keyword set. Whereas with an array, you could just do it by declaring, you don't have to explicitly say array, but because this is an array and you're initializing a variable with it, you create the array. I get it now. Okay, so you just got to be explicit with the keyword. Okay, And where our grocery list. Oh, it wants me to. Oh, here we are. Set does not have its own literal syntax like array and dictionary. However, recall from learning about numbers in chapter 4 that a value like 1.21 could be either a double or a float. And the compiler will infer it to be a double unless you specify otherwise. Set can borrow array literal syntax in the same way. Update your playground to use an explicit set type annotation with array literal syntax. Update your playground to use an explicit set type with array literal syntax. Wait. Set can borrow array literal syntax in the same way. Okay. So we can get rid of this. And the compiler will infer it for us instead. But now we have to change this to a type annotation, and we get rid of the parentheses. Oh, we need an equal sign. Command Shift Enter. Is it gonna? Oh right, my bad. I just want to see what it. Command Shift Enter. Okay, apples, oranges. Okay, all right. So it doesn't have its own, but it can borrow from the array syntax. Fair enough. This code explicitly declares grocery list to be a set. The compiler would otherwise infer that a collection created with bracket syntax was an array. I see. Right. Okay. However, the compiler can still infer the type of instance. However, the compiler can still infer the type of instance that the set will contain. In this case, strings. Yeah, easy enough because of the quotations. So, okay. In earlier chapters, you relied heavily on type inference for your collection types. Oh, I'm trying not to slouch. My girl said she's gonna leave me if my back starts to bow over. So I have to I gotta make sure my back stays straight. Okay. Don't worry, I have my stipulations on her too. Oh man. Okay, I lost my spot. Okay. In earlier chapters, you relied heavily on type inference for your collection types. Set does not offer quite as much flexibility. You relied heavily on. Oh yeah. Set does not offer quite as much flexibility to use type inference, but you do have a few choices for how to declare your instances. Which form you choose to declare your collection type instances does not matter. Choose a style that you find comfortable and readable. It should be a goal of any developer to write code that they and other developers they work with can easily read and understand. You can add groceries to your grocery list using the insert method. Okay, so real quick aside, I think you should type annotate. Just fucking do it. Is this really that hard to do? This right here, this part. Remember, that's it. That's your type annotation. And so my argument is, why in the world is a developer creating something if they don't know what fucking data types they're going to use? And further to that point, Swift actually makes this easier in the sense that, well, and other languages have implementations of this or some other method to handle it, but Swift gives you optionals. So even the argument that, well, you don't know, it could be nil, it could be this, it could be that. Well, you have ways to handle it, but either way, the point in this case is about the readability of the code itself. Why would you not annotate? Seriously, why would you not do it? And honestly, I'd rather have I wouldn't even want to see this. So if you're going to come work with me, just know that I'm not going to let you write code like this. We're going to have variables defined, uninitialized, somewhere at the top of the file, so we know what the fuck. Like there's just no reason to write slop shit code, okay? And when you have the mechanisms to not do it, I don't want to hear about your arguments about time saving and whatnot. Bullshit, okay? Because when I have to come in and fix your code and understand it, it takes a hell of a lot longer. So anytime that you saved up front by not typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters in this case, you're just pushing that downstream to some other poor bastard. And maybe that poor bastard is you. Maybe it's not. But the point is, did you really save any time? No. You save time right now. But, business is perpetual. And we don't get to just fuck off about the things that we chose in the past. We actually have to account for those things, especially when you're talking about development, because all of your bad decisions go right into the product. So just annotate your fucking types. That's all I'm saying. Just do it. It's not that difficult. You don't know if it's going to be an int or a fucking string, or you know what I'm saying? Then why are you creating it if you don't know what it's going to be? Anyway, let me hop down off my soapbox. Okay, I'm down. I'm back to the land of the normies. Okay, you can add groceries to your grocery list using the insert method. Listing 11.3, adding to a set. All right, so now we are adding elements to the set of apples and oranges. So grocery list, dot notation. We get this nice available list of methods that we can attach to this. We're gonna use the insert method. Kiwi. And another. I'll have one more. Pears. Bam. Oh, what does that say? Inserted true. Member after insert. Kiwi. Inserted bool. Okay. Well, we see it down here. So now if we print after the fact, we should see kiwi, oranges, pears, apples, peas, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, mog, pea. Where did I hear that at? I heard that somewhere. Let's see. Print grocery list. Okay, so we did that. We added elements to the set. Looks identical to arrays in that sense. If I'm remembering correctly. I wonder does this have GD? Sure does, yeah. So what's cool about, just so you know, I mean, obviously this is a short file, but if you can imagine, once you start writing a lot of code, one of the things that I really like about Vim, or rather Vim mode, I should say, not NeoVim. Don't want to hear about that shit. What I like about this though, if you're moving around your code and you come across a variable like this and you're not sure what it does, while you have your cursor on it, you can just hit GD and you see how the cursor moved up to grocery list. Well, imagine this is 1,000 lines of code. Well, it will immediately take you to the definition of the thing that you're on, so you can see what it is. And that's it. Pretty damn cool, I think. So, and what's funny about that, when I was writing, there was a hot minute where I was using VS Code to write Golang instead of the Jupyter Notebook I told you about. And out of all the plugins, like there's so many plugins. The one that let me do that, there's a plugin that lets you effectively do the same thing. It was an implementation of go-to definition. That was like, I really didn't, I was so new to it, I didn't know what that was in particular, but I knew that it was useful. So to find out that that's kind of just baked into Vim was actually a pretty handy discovery there. So there's absolutely value in learning it, and I would recommend for anybody, just because it's helped me a lot. If you're going to use Xcode, there's a Vim mode, and you probably can't see it, but it's putting the commands across the bottom on that little bar down here. So given the context, it'll show you commands that are available to you, which has been wildly helpful in actually learning it. But yeah, I tried NeoVim. No. Okay, so you can add groceries. Okay, so we did that. The results sidebar shows something like inserted true, member after insert pairs. Yeah. For each insertion into your grocery list. This is because insert. Hold on a sec. It's hot in this mode. It's on 68. That seems like bullshit. How hot? Hey Siri, what's the weather? It's only 75. Sorry, I know. I'm sure I set somebody off. Can I just say real quick? I know I keep you know what? No, I'm gonna keep it positive. You know, I'm gonna keep positive. I'm gonna keep positive. Oh shit. I forgot that he texted me. God damn it. Or I thought that he did. Man, I'm tripping. I swear I saw a. Oh, it was on LinkedIn. Right. Okay, no, we're good. Hey Siri, set a reminder for 3:15. I have a call at 3:30.
Okay, I added it.
Yeah. She's a good gal, you know, when she wants to pitch in. And where was I? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. I'm gonna go take care of something. Where's my handy? See that there? Frequently used toilet. It's just part of life, I guess. Okay. Because I know people be concerned, you know, so you gotta let them know where you're at. Okay, I'll be right back. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Can't live, living is without you. I can't live, I can't live anymore. What y'all know about Mariah Carey, brother? Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing. Give me a sec, hold on. Give me a sec, give me a sec. Give me a sec. You know, I realized Generation Z doesn't really have okay, so yeah. Correct me on something real quick. Actually, don't. Just do it amongst yourselves. But I was just thinking about this. Gen Z doesn't really have, like, who's their Mariah Carey? Who's their Whitney Houston? Adele, I guess, but that's not Gen Z's. Maybe they ain't come out yet. I guess they got time, but I'm just thinking about that. I am by no means plugged into the music sphere, though. I've been listening to the same 270 songs since high school, baby. So, well, not high school. I probably stopped collecting new music whenever probably when I started at Tamlin. So, 2015, if I'm being honest. So yeah, entirely possible that the Gen Zers, the Zoomers, that's my favorite, Zoomers. Call them Zoomers because they're zooming this country into hell in a handbasket. No, I'm playing. You know, some people get all bent out of shit. Why are you breathing so hard, brother? Is this your job? Your livelihood? I can't imagine that. I really enjoy the aspect of, like, sure, it'd be nice to have passive income on YouTube or X or streaming on whatever, but for it to be your sole, because this is not my first foray into this. It wasn't a lot back then, but it was a lot for me. I had a separate channel when I started my first business. This was like a decade ago. I was selling, I used to have my own line of supplements back when I was a fool and I thought that I wanted to be a bodybuilder for a living. Can you imagine? Anyway, I had like 15,000 subs, but then I just completely let it go because I couldn't keep up with. I had created too much demand and then it was too stressful. I didn't I just didn't want to do it no more. But yeah, my point is that I think there's an inherent conflict of interest the second that somebody makes influencing or content creation their job. If I shouldn't say that, it's not applicable to all, but for stuff like this, like programming, you may feel or you may have a level of expertise, like say in Swift, right? But that's not going to be conducive or useful for everybody, because Swift really isn't that prominent yet. So I'm just using this as an example because obviously I'm building my business on Swift, so I believe in it. So I'm not. Yeah. So actually, that's a terrible example. I'm not going to use Swift. That's a bad example. I don't want to confuse anybody. So, but something like okay, here's a good example. Something else I had high interest in and still do, but it's a better example. So the V programming language, V as in vernacular. Okay, the V programming language came out in 2019, so it's even younger than Swift. Swift came out in 2014. V came out 2019. So for me, let's say if I was a stalwart of or a staunch supporter of V, and I'm out here making content, and if I know that there's a lot of hype around V because maybe there was just some talk on it or something like that, but inherently, if I'm out there saying, "Oh man, this is so exciting! You got to check this out. Look at this. Look at all that you can do. Look at this. Look at that." It's a bit disingenuous because for a fact that, well, I don't know this for a fact. It is highly likely that there are, 0 jobs out there for the V programming language. And so my only point is that I think there's a certain perversion that goes on. Maybe it's not malicious, but it's there because content creators are not unlike everybody else in the sense that they want to be paid. They want to make money and they need to stay relevant. So it's important not only to make some money, but in a sense, I think because of the way that the algorithm works, they're forced to create content in a certain way if they want to stay at that level of success. And so inherently, who's going to suffer in that? Well, it's the poor, uneducated viewer. I think the viewer that can understand that, maybe watching like Prime or whoever you might watch, if they understand that it's just entertainment, then it's okay. But a lot of these, and me included, and I see it in the comment section all the time now, they're going to these YouTube videos to make career choices. And it's so unfortunate. It just puts you in the whirlwind. And that's all I'm saying is you got to be careful. And I would never want this content creation to be my main gig because of that reason, for one, which totally kills the joy of doing any of it. And then B, what would B be? BB. What would B be? I thought I had a B, but maybe I don't have a B. Oh wait, no, I have a good B. And B, if you're not working in the real world, I think inevitably your content, you can only make up but so much stuff. And so the second you're not bringing a real world perspective into your content, and now you're just kind of, for lack of a better term, making stuff up. Like, we're going to build something that I'm going to sell. We're here for a reason. But if you're just making tutorials here and there on the hottest, latest thing, I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. But I digress. Let's get back to work. All right. So now Grocery List has a few items in it. As with arrays and dictionaries, you can loop through a set. To see its contents. Yeah. This is what I really need to tighten up on, because I did not. I mean, I understand it once I looked at it, but the whole unwrapping thing, they just threw a lot at us in that last chapter. So, that was my brain got mollywopped by detail and options. I need to go revisit switch statements, but we'll get there. Okay, so for food, so now we're doing looping through a set for food in grocery list. Yeah. Print food. Okay, so quick refresher. Remember, because I asked this question because I really wanted to understand it. Because I was struggling with this concept around what's going on whenever I see. Well, first of all, what do we even call the thing in between the squigglies? A code block. That was the answer. So just a code block. Okay, fine. Okay, and then I asked, well, but how do we know? Like, you can, if you already know what this does, then you know what it does. But if you didn't, how do you know what action will be carried out and when you're looking at the scope of the code block? And the answer was, well, you just relate it back to it depends. Like if it's a function, if this was a function instead of a for loop, it would be different. So it's just driven by the, whatever the keyword type statement that you're using. So in this case, in a for loop, we have to remember that this word that comes after the fact could literally be anything because this is our iterator. So when you write a for loop, you give it an iterator. So in this case, food, but this could be, it could be ood. For ood in grocery list. There's no ood in my grocery list, but it's just an iterator. So it's a temporary thing that happens. I mean, it's created once the for loop is executed and then destroyed when it's done running. So it's it's ephemeral. But yeah, it can be anything. And that always threw me for a while. It really threw me for a while. I'm like, well, what is that fucking keyword coming from? And people wouldn't explain it. And I would get so frustrated with that. And the thing is, and the reason that I would encourage you to, just kind of generally speaking, I think this is just a good thing to do. Like if you're learning a new language, like let's say that you're watching me every day and we're stepping through it in detail with examples, right? Just using the book as it's given. But secondary to that, like, this could be a good thing to do right before bed because it'll surely put you to sleep. So, a double win. Go to, I'm going to show you a free option and then I'm going to show you a paid option. How about that? Because I'm just a nice guy like that. Okay, so the free option would be go to swift.org, the official site, right? And actually, if you have even better, so you can go here. What I was going to say, let me just finish about that. Come to the documentation, okay? Go to the language reference and read it. We'll read the reference. And yeah, it'll be pretty dry, but you will learn how to interpret a lot of these things because you see right here on the first page, and this is one of the things that, I don't know where I got this from, but it's really unfortunate that that I accepted it as true without verifying for myself because it set me back because I don't want y'all to do the same thing. Somewhere along the way in my head, I thought I just kind of wrote off official documentation in general. And I would always look for third-party educational materials, stuff like that to learn things. But the problem with that is you're always learning through the lens of somebody else. You're always kind of depending on the fact that their interpretation and their style of teaching is going to resonate with you. And it can be very frustrating when that doesn't happen. And I think this is more prevalent with things that are more popular because there's just way more content out there. And by virtue of that, a lot more shitty content out there, like JavaScript or, any of the frameworks. I'm sure y'all have all seen some great tutorials, and I'm sure you've seen some pretty bad ones. What will help with a lot of that and help you kind of gauge whether or not this is useful information off rip, or rather it'll help you pull from whatever shitty content you watch the useful parts, because that's usually how it goes. There's, I talk a lot on this stream. That's not very useful. You don't know, like, what the fuck's he talking about? Can you get back to the book? But once I get back to the book, hopefully that's helpful. So there's you always weigh the ratio here, but if you come to the documentation and you read through it, just like here on the first page, it's going to explain to you the structure of things, so you can know, like when you're reading instructions from other people or reading code, you at least have some idea of the placement of things, so you have a better idea of what you should, like what mode should I even be thinking in right now, or what's the terminology, you know. So there's always a lot of assumptions that are made to some degree about the audience and what they already know, and so this is a good way to hedge against being on the short end of the stick. So yeah, highly recommend just doing that. Okay, read through the official documentation. Dry as it may be, I guarantee you're going to learn stuff. And even just having a minimal reference point to things, and then you come across it later on with actual context and examples, that will be a great help to you. Okay. The other thing I was going to show you, the paid option. This is an app. This is not my application. I actually don't remember how much. I want to say it was $5 or something like that. I don't know. But what's really neat about this, for one, the most difficult thing that I found with apps on the App Store is none of those motherfuckers keep their stuff up to date. But this one does, and I appreciate that very much so. But yeah, coding apps, anything relating to coding, there are just notorious for that, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, if you build something, you should be prepared to maintain it. And whoever this person is that has this app, Code Recipes, did a really good job. And so I thought, I'm going to support this guy and get the pro version. But what's really neat is, you can see along the bottom, there's a number of languages. So obviously Swift, Python, JavaScript, Golang, Kotlin, SQL. There's a lot more. Well, just take my word. There's a lot more languages. Okay, so you can edit and choose which ones show up. But we're talking about Swift, and what's really neat is you can see, like, everything that we're doing in the book is here. So it's a language complete set of just syntax. So it's, if you can imagine, watering it down to just syntax examples. So this might not be great out of the gate for learning to program. Certainly not just to program, because you're not going to learn to program just looking at syntax. But in conjunction with examples or as a reference after the fact, this is invaluable. You're just like, God damn it, you know what you need, right? You more than likely you will remember the concept and the thing more, but you may not remember the exact structure of the syntax. And so this is great to just pop back and be like, God damn it, collections, what are arrays? How do I do that? Oh, boom, there you go. So if you have a few bucks to support a good developer that's doing things the right way, go check out Code Recipes Pro, and you get all this stuff. There are also, when you search it, let me warn you right now, when you search Code Recipes, there are also individual ones. So like there's one just for Python, just for JavaScript. The Pro version has all of them. So just make sure you check and see what you're buying, okay? But yeah, that was it. So, but yeah, I need to remember I have this, because this would have helped yesterday, just seeing an example of how to structure things. So I'm going to try to remember to look back at that. And these examples will also be, somebody just... See, another recruiter. Look at this. Let's see. Okay, just messaged me. I'm going to hit him right back. See what happens. Urgent requirement. Austin. We have... Oh, Swift really? That's interesting. 10 years of experience. Doing what? 3 years lead developer for large Swift, MySQL. I'll talk to the guy. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm like 60% qualified. I've never written. I'll let him know. I'm doing a stream on Swift. Does that count? No. You never know. So we'll see what happens. But Is that my latest one? Yeah, April 15th. New. Attached is my resume. Resumed my resume. There we go. Okay. Well, hold on. Don't worry, the stream is not ending, but I'm not trying to put my my cell phone number on the stream. 253 20, and then say it out loud. All right, the stream is not ending. We're back. Boom, tricked you. Okay, now we're back. We'll get to it. Okay, so where are our groceries? Oh yeah, I just showed you that, so I want to show you that. Okay. All right, each item in your grocery list is logged to the console. We see that down here: oranges, pears, kiwi, apples. Seeing that console output, you might remember that you already have pears at home. I just remembered I have pears at home. You can remove them from your set with remove. Okay. Let's do that. Grocery list dot remove. I really like the dot notation. I will say that just in general, because my first foray into like writing code in general was SQL. I love SQL. I love it. Don't ever talk bad about it in front of me. But it did not have, well, I guess that's not true. I just didn't use it. I should say that. Yeah. It was more of like a caveman style of programming, but it was a lot of fun. There's no greater joy than like throwing in, 500 insert statements and just watching it go. Oh yeah, baby. Not very efficient, but you live and you learn. Okay, working with sets. Now that you have, let's make sure that worked. So we want to print the grocery list after we remove. Okay, great. No more pairs. Okay, now that you have an instance of set, you might be wondering what to do with it. The set offers a number. The set offers a number of methods that allow you to work on sets alone or in combination. I gotta take my caffeine. Try not to drink as much coffee, because then I'll have a bathroom break every 15 minutes. So I will walk out. Some, but not all. Wait. Okay. Now that you have an instance of set, you might be wondering what to do with it. The set offers a number of methods that allow you to work on sets alone or in combination with another set. That already sounds okay. Or sometimes a different collection type. Really? Some, but not all, of these operations are also available for arrays. Most are not available for dictionaries. Which is an interesting comment, because they said that they're not used that often, so I'm curious to see how useful these things sound. The features of the various types are streamlined for their most common use cases. The features of the various types are streamlined for their most common use cases. Okay? For example, you might want to know if your grocery list contains a particular item. Yes. The set type provides a method called contains that looks inside a set instance for a particular item. Okay. So I feel like, this makes sense, so I'll just do this real quick, but I was thinking about yesterday. And we tried this with the dictionary, and this is all I wanted to do. I just wanted to, because it told us to go to the docs, find something that looked like it would find an element in the dictionary, or look up a value in the dictionary, and it had this contains, and I thought it would work just like this is written, because this makes good sense to me. But it didn't work. which made me not like dictionaries, but I'm sure there's another simpler way, but this makes sense. So, okay, let has bananas. So we define a constant named has bananas, and it is equal to true or false, because grocery list dot contains, the dot contains method takes a string, bananas, returns a bool, true or false. So if it exists, we get true back. If it doesn't, we get false back, as we see here. Which, as I say that, I think that's why it didn't work, because I was trying to compare a string, but I was getting back a bool. Okay. Answer my own question. All right. So just true or false. Okay. So now what? Has bananas is false. Your grocery list set does not have bananas in it. Emphatically does not have bananas in it. Unions, often you will want to compare one set to another set or an array. For example, suppose you bump into a friend while you are shopping. Just walking and bump into him. Watch where you're going, motherfucker. While talking about things in your list, you decide to compare them. This after he apologized for bumping into me. First, you wonder what you would have if you combined your separate grocery list into a new one. First, you wonder what you would have if you combined your separate grocery list into a new one. Leaving out the duplicate groceries, you can do that with... Wait. Okay, so I'm going to the store with the intent to buy groceries. I bump into a friend at the store who lives in a separate location than myself, and the friend is also there to buy groceries. And we can assume that both parties are thinking they're going to take the food home where they live that they purchased. So the logical conclusion is he bumped into me so hard, both of us are concussed. And now we came to the conclusion that it would be a good idea to create a new list, a singular list, leaving out duplicates, to then take... Bro, come on now. But we'll play along. Okay, we're concussed, we're confused, and now we want to make a single list with no duplicates. Okay, you can do that with set union method. Sets union method. Union. That's also a thing in SQL. So okay, so let's see if that's what it do. For food and grocery list print. No, we did that. Okay, so what are we adding here? So a constant. We define a constant named friends. Friends grocery list is equal to, and then we can't do a literal because set does not have such a thing. So we need to explicitly state that this will be a set. Oops. It does not, I guess it doesn't, the white space isn't required, but I wish it would do that. Okay, so set bananas and cereal, milk, and oranges. Oranges. All right, and then we create another constant called shared list, and that's grocery list dot notation. Select the method union, and union so that's another thing that I want to understand. So I know the underbar is a wildcard, but why is it returns a new set with the elements of both this set and the given? Okay, so it's of type sequence, I guess. and it returns a set of strings. Interesting. Okay. So grocery list, method, union, and then friends grocery list. Command Shift Enter. Okay. And so now if we click on the little eyeball, we can see what's in here. Bananas, kiwi, cereal, oranges, milk, apples, no duplicates. It would appear that this was successful. That's what I see. That's what I see. That's what I see. Take a listen. You add a new constant set instance representing your friend's grocery list and use the union method to combine the two sets. Union takes a list of values as its argument and compares the list to its own values. Takes a list of values as its argument and compares the list of, yeah. The return value is a set that includes the elements of both locations. The return value is a set that includes the elements of both. Oh, right. Less any duplicates. Now that's very, very handy. That's very, very handy. So, okay, so as always, we want to think of ways we can use this in our app. And so the immediate use case that comes to my mind with the union, say, so we're going to build an application that calculates, if you're not familiar with MRP, you can watch one of my one of the other episodes and you'll hear about it for sure. But it's an acronym for material resource planning, and it really just embodies the entire process of, just-in-time inventory, and basically applying common sense and effective practices when you talk about purchasing raw material, right? Calculating lead times, and also order fulfillment. So on the other side, your sales dates, or promise dates rather, when are you telling your customers you can get it to them? Based off those dates that you're beholden to, and then you just kind of backwards. Well, it depends on how you do it. Everyone does it differently. The point is, what we're going to build is going to be a tool that gives the flexibility to do it the way you need to do it. But some people do it backwards, so they're based off of sales. Everything's make to order, so they don't make anything ahead of time. They get these orders. They have these fulfillment dates. They check and see how much inventory they have. If they don't have enough, then they start buying in order to fulfill these dates. In a very condensed nutshell, that's what we're talking about. So in saying that, if we were to take, let's say, because oftentimes we'll take inputs from other services. And when I say we, I mean if you're a service company, in our case, we were the primary reseller of a ERP package and also had that plug-in manufacturing application that was fully integrated with the ERP. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you are the main supporter of the ERP system, then oftentimes you'll be engaged with your customers. So if I have customer Joe Schmo, he buys my system, but he also has this other online sales system and he wants to integrate the two. A lot of times we would be talking to those, third parties. Like, oh, well, do you have an API? No, we don't have an API. It's just SQL backend. So, okay, well, then we need to discuss the schema. Basically, I got to know the schema so I can know what data format that you need it in. And so one person on one side or the other, or not one person, but one party, one entity on either side is going to have to accommodate, unless you just happen to already be working with the same format, which is highly unlikely. So somebody has to do some kind of accommodations there. You come to an agreement or a contract, and then you can start to, exchange data with whatever implementation that you come across. But in saying that, oftentimes, we're bringing in a lot of sales orders from, say, a Shopify or some unfortunate soul that still has like Drupal or something like that. And, there's a possibility. You don't want to make the assumption, rather. There's a possibility that external systems are not applying the same kind of validation checks that you're applying in your system. And so you should not only apply your validation when you generate data, but also when you import data from an external source. Seems like common sense, but hey, if it was common sense, okay, there wouldn't be so much damn material telling you to do it. Okay, people skip steps all the time. Never take for granted people's ability to cut corners. Okay, just don't do it. Don't do it yourself. But this would be great if we wanted to accept or ingest rather multiple lists. So like instead of forcing the customer to import one file, and then if they want to fix something, they gotta re-import a whole other file, but they may not be sure that the new file has all the old stuff in addition to what they want to add. They just know that there's some new orders in here, and they don't necessarily know whether or not they've already imported all this other stuff. Sure, that should be somebody's job, but at the same time, programmatically, if you can solve that and just say, hey, look, just throughout the month, all your files, anything, throw it in here. Throw it in the bucket. The code will divvy out any, or not divvy out, but it'll omit any duplicates, right? And so if you do end up uploading any duplicates, then that'll be accounted for. Now this can get hairy with other nuanced things like, maybe it's just one element of the order, not just the entire order itself, or maybe it's not just quantity, it's price breaks and unit price changes, promos, stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff that can change, but overall, I like the idea of making data imports easy, because the biggest thing that I ran into, like easily the worst experience that I think people have in general interacting with these old ERP systems, it's just make it so, they make it so difficult to get to your own data, getting the data out, getting the data in, visualizing the data, parsing the data in a way that's friendly with other systems. If you just want to do a quick one-off thing, everything's just a fucking, pardon my French, everything's just a chore. You're like, good Jesus, is it really this difficult? And the answer is no, but to these older companies, ours included, because like I told you, it was old technology. It's difficult for us because those apps are big and bloated, written on old ass technology. There's some things that were already easy back then, but data visualization and exchanging data and putting data in different format, all that stuff, that wasn't one of them. So a lot of these old systems are just garbage at that particular task. And that's why we're here. Okay, so here, shared list is a set that contains the unique elements of grocery list and friends grocery list. Figure 11.1 depicts the union of two sets. Yeah, nice little graph. I think we get it though, right? We want uniqueness. That's the requirement. And so in this case, since we'll share it here, orange, apple, kiwi, oranges. So we only get one oranges instead of two. Everything else being unique. Okay, so the union, intersections. The union method eliminates duplicates. What if instead you want a list of just the duplicates, the elements that appear in both sets? Compare your grocery list and your friends list using the intersection method to identify the duplicate items. Ooh. Okay. So we create a constant named duplicate items. And it's equal to grocery list method intersection friends grocery list. Command Shift Enter. Okay. And then we should only get, wait. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. Oranges. Yep. Okay. Sets intersection method identifies the items that are present in both collections and returns. Oh, wait. I read that wrong. In the wrong tense. Method identifies the items that are present in both collections and returns those duplicated in a new set instance. Okay, in a new set. 11.2 shows this relationship. In this case, you and your friend both have oranges in your grocery list. Disjoint. Can we guess what this one does? You have seen how to combine two sets into a new all-inclusive set via the union method. You also use the intersection method to find common elements of two sets and place them into a new set. What if? Stick with me now. What if you just want to know whether two sets contain any common elements? What if you just want to know whether two sets contain any common elements? I don't know. This is disjoint with method checks whether two sets exclusively contain different items. Exclusively contain different items. Okay. So on the whole, are they both wholly unique? No shared elements across the board. Okay. So then let disjoint. Sorry. Disjoint. Let disjoint. I'll have to say sorry to you. Grocery list method call is disjoint with, and then our friend's grocery list. Wait, and this returns what? Let, oh, a string set? Friends grocery list. Okay. And it's false. Oh, right. False because we are sharing oranges across the list. So they're not wholly unique. But were we to... Let's change this to oranges. And so now, true. Hot dog, we get it. We understand it. We have ascended. Okay. Sets disjoint method. Wait, we read this. Yeah. No, we didn't, but I just explained it to you. Sets disjoint is disjoint with method returns true if no members of the set here, grocery list, are in the sequence provided in disjoint with argument here, friends grocery list. Yep. If there are any in common, then it comes back false. In this case, disjoint is false because both sets include oranges. There are other ways to compare grocery list and other sets. For example, you could compute the symmetric difference. Compute the symmetric difference, which would tell you all about the items that appear in one and only one of your list. Go on. So we would only get oranges. Okay. That's what I thought the disjoint was going to be. Okay, so fucking Mike is pulling my beard. Okay, the symmetric... What was the... There was... Oh, except. So in SQL, yeah, there was an except operator that kind of do the same thing. Basically do the same thing across queries or tables. So there are other ways to compare grocery lists and others. For example, you could... Oh, wait, I did that. Or I looked at that. To make a note to look up... Wait. You make a note to look up the set documentation for some light bedtime reading later. Holy shit. I just told y'all that, and now it's recommending the same thing. I'm telling you, it's meant to be. To find out what other interesting methods sets can use to compare their contents that... What? Oh, okay. It's just saying read the doc so you can find out what other interesting shit it can do. Yeah, exactly. Do that. Don't forget. Put it on your calendar. Oh, and that's what I'm going to tell you. If you... I mean, I assume since you're here, you use Apple products. The official Swift book from Apple is free on Apple Books, so make sure you download it, and you can just read through that. You don't even need to go to swift.org. So, yeah, I would recommend doing that, and it's free. It's free. What are you doing? It's free. Okay, so you make a note to look up, and then, but for now, it is getting late, so you go home to enjoy your fruit salad. Okay. What? But it didn't give me a... Oh, I guess it's just telling you that. Okay, yeah, so there's another, so we're not going to do an example on that one, but we understand that if we did run this method instead of, say, is disjoint, then we would just get back oranges, because that's what that one does. But there's a lot more, and so they're saying go check them out, because there's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of methods available to sets that are unique to just sets. Okay, moving between types. As you have seen, each collection type has a feature set appropriate to the type's primary uses. Arrays as ordered list, dictionaries as key value pairs, and sets modeling mathematical sets as bags of unique values. That's the best description I've ever heard. Bags of unique values. I like that. Yeah, because in a bag, you're just kind of, what's the order? You're just kind of all on top of each other. Flopping all over the place. Okay, some of these types can be initialized with data from the others, like arrays and dictionaries. It will be especially common for you to want to compare the data from two arrays in a way that only sets support. It will be especially common for you to want to compare the data from two arrays. How do you know? The good news is that you can create sets from your arrays. Cool. But you must bear in mind the differences between those types. For example, imagine playing some games with friends after you arrive home from your grocery trip. Okay, so I went to the grocery store, ran into my friend, was concussed. Now I've maybe brought back groceries or not because we decided to share a list. And now I enter directly into a game instead of going, to the hospital. Okay, create an array of players and an array to track who won each game. Let players equal. And so this was the literal syntax that they were referring to. Some of this stuff, it really is poorly named. You start to realize that too. So don't always think you're stupid. Sometimes it's just like, no, they just don't. The people that made this stuff, like they wrote code and created Swift, and now we use Swift to write more code that creates more programs. Pretty crazy. But yeah, they're also just people. So sometimes stuff, the name won't always align with what you might expect, is all I'm saying. So just remember that there is and always will be a certain familiarity component and just time in the saddle kind of requirement in order to move fast with your chosen language and or ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. But that's why it's also, choosing the right programming language is an important step, and it should not be taken lightly. But you also don't want to waste too much time, because at the end of the day, you can, for the most part, it's true, you can write almost anything and anything. But certain things are more, predisposed, or they have an affinity towards writing certain kind of applications. But yeah, some things you just need to know, just certain behaviors you need to know. And that's one of these cases, because we know that this is going to create an array with the literal syntax. But son of a gun, I already forget. No, I didn't forget. But if we were going to do a set, we'd have to explicitly say it. But for arrays, we can do this. So we're creating a constant called players, and it's an array with those values in it. And then we say, here's another one. Let winners Jenka. It's an unfortunate name. Jenka. Actually, never mind. I take that back. Vijay is an unfortunate name. Who don't come on, guys? What y'all doing to y'all's kids? Set them up for success. I mean, goddamn. Okay, Jinka Vijay and Jinka. Jinka won 3 games and Vijay has won 1. Because values can be repeated in arrays. Because values can be repeated in arrays. I'll go out on a limb and assume that's what they meant. An array is a suitable type for tracking who won each game. An array is suitable for that. Okay. Suppose you want to know. Well, okay, yeah, you're right. Because arrays are ordered, and so you would be covered both in terms of enumeration, because you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, she won game 1, he won game 2, based off the index. Yeah. Okay. And since it's a let, it's a constant, it'll be immutable till we crash the app. But we'll save it to disk, so that's okay. All right. Suppose you want to know who has not won any games yet. So comparing winners array to players array, and any player that is not in the winners array, they have not won a game yet. So, suppose you want to know, yeah. Array does not, on its own, have a good way to tell you that. Yeah, I mean, I disagree, but okay. So, but the set type has a method, subtracting, that will give you a set that represents what is left when you subtract the values in one from another set. Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. I don't like that. I'm just being picky, though. I would never think that a method called subtracting is being applied to a set of strings. Whatever, that's fine. So that will give you a set that represents what is left when you subtract the values in one set from another. So you could subtract the winners from the players to see who has not yet won a game. So you could subtract the winners from the players. Yeah. But you don't have sets. You have arrays. No problem. Create 2 new arrays by initializing them with your sets. Okay. God damn, hiccups again. Okay. So I have this one. Do you want me to add these? Let player set. So a constant called player set equal a set. Oh, that's easy. That's nice. Okay. And let winner set, winner set. So my hands are so damn cold. Why? Equal a set of winners. Here you create 2 instances of set and initialize them with the data from instances of array. So here and here. Got it. Makes perfect sense. Because the source arrays were of type array string, the compiler will infer the types of the new sets to be set string. Okay, that's handy. Notice that winner set only contains 2 values. Okay. And they are Jinka and Vijay. So some kind of inherent dedupe going on. Notice that winner set only contains 2 values because values in a set must be unique. Also, because sets are unordered, the names may appear in a different order in the playground results than they did in the source arrays. Since the set is unordered and does not contain duplicates, winner set represents the list of players who have won at least one game, rather than the list of players who have... Oh, okay. Let me reread that. Since the set is unordered, but does not also contain duplicates, then you can feel safe and confident knowing that winner set represents the list of players who have won at least one game, rather than the list of players who won each game, which is what I was saying earlier, because you could have game 1, game 2, game 3, because you would have the index of the array because they're ordered. All right, so that makes sense to me. We understand this. We understand this. And rather than, yeah, okay. Now to find out who has not won any games yet, you can subtract winner set from the player set. Okay. Winner set from the player set. Player set method call subtracting. Subtracting winner set. And what do we get? Anna. Pick it up, Anna. Got the only normal name and you're over here slacking. Come on, brother. They want it more than you. Anna being the only value in the player set that is not also in the winner set. Is the only player who's not won any games yet. Yeah, figure 11.4. Yeah. Okay. You can also go the other way, creating a set from an array using code like let players to equal. Oh, okay. But note that if you do, the order of the items in the resulting array may be different every time you run your code, since values from the set will be copied to the array in no particular order. Ugh. Why? Just don't even do it. You have now met the most commonly used data types in Swift standard library. In the coming chapters, you will build your experience working with these types and the methods on them. You know, Matt. Oh, great. All right, sweet. Perfect. Now, so what's interesting about this, this is coming to into my brain just after reading that line. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was, if you guys aren't familiar, there's a guy a channel called Dave's Garage, I think, on YouTube. And it's really interesting because he's the guy that wrote the Windows Task Manager. I'm sure you all are all familiar with that, killing tasks and shit, like logging people out. But yeah, so he's on YouTube now. So you can only imagine, the wealth of knowledge. And he puts out some really incredibly detailed videos that are just very educational. Awesome. I would recommend going and checking it out. And as a matter of fact, for any of you newbies that are just totally new to this period, he has a video called Everything You Need to Know About Computers. It's like a 20-minute, or it's a 19-minute video. It's either called that, Everything You Need to Know About Computers, or Everything You Didn't Know About Your Computer. Something along those lines. Go watch that video. Go watch that video. It's 19 minutes. Get off your ass and go watch. No, I'm playing, but you should watch it. You have now met the most commonly used data types. Oh, right. I didn't finish my thought. But he was saying, I believe it was him. He was saying when you're learning new languages, his recommendation was that if you don't necessarily know what you're going to do, so it doesn't necessarily apply to me because I know what I'm trying to do, but it's still good advice. So he said, if you're learning a new language and don't necessarily have a project in mind, like a thing to do, right? Only learn the language up to the point where you cover the data types, which is what triggered me here because it's saying we saw all the data types. So learn the data types, how to declare variables, and how to write conditionals, like all that stuff that we saw, the for loops, the switch statements. And then from that point, stop doing the bookworm kind of learning and go try to build something. And then just iterate from there and build your knowledge up. And I think that's good advice because it certainly can, if you don't know why you're doing some kind of deep dive into anything, you're probably not going to retain a lot of that knowledge. So although it may feel good just to be, generally speaking, if your nose is in a book, you're being quote unquote productive, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I would just recommend taking that man's advice, because as somebody who has toiled for years, I can tell you it's sound advice. It is. Okay, so you will build your experience working with these types and methods on them. You will also implement your own functions and methods, and then begin defining your own custom data types. Boy, oh boy. Bronze challenge. Okay. Consider the following code that models the cities two people I visit as sets. Okay. Let my cities, and it's of type set. I can't even. Let my cities type annotation. It's a set, and it's equal to Atlanta, Chicago, Jacksonville, New York, Denver, and then another constant, which is another set of others. Find a method on set that returns a bool, true or false, indicating whether my cities contains all the cities contained by your cities. Huh. This relationship would make my cities a superset of your cities. Find a method on set that returns a bool indicating whether my cities contains all the cities contained by your cities. Okay, I see. Okay, then I'll do that. I will. Bet your ass I will. And as per usual, I'm going to lift my non-copy and paste, or do not copy and paste, only for the challenge, because we just want to get this code in here, and we're gonna have to do some looking anyway. But otherwise, we will not do this. Okay, only in the challenges, only place it's allowed. Otherwise, you're breaking the rules, and I will find you, and you'll regret it. Okay, so var. I'm just kidding. Don't. That's a joke. Var grocery list. Set string apples, oranges. Yeah. And wait, that's not what I. That is not. That's not what I copied. Oops. Copy. I have to do it in insert mode. Yeah. Okay. Okay. My cities. So we just hit the dot, and then we can go through the method calls available and read these handy little descriptions they got down here. But insert the given element in the, no, that's not it. Form union. So it wants to check and see if my cities contains everything in your cities. So maybe is included. Returns a new set. That, well, no, we need a bool, and this returns a new set containing the elements of the set that satisfy the given predicate. No. Or maybe it is. That must be it. Returns a new set containing the elements of the set. It does return a bool, but then it rethrows a string. I don't know if that matters. Returns a bool indicating whether the sequence contains an element that satisfies the given predicate. Or maybe it's just this. We'll try both. Member returns a bool that indicates whether the given element exists in the set. Returns a new set containing the element. No. First index of. Probably one of those other. Okay, we're getting further from it, so let's just try. It's got to be this one. Contains your cities. Command Shift Enter. Yeah, brother. We've passed the bronze challenge. Oh man, that is just easy money. At least we've evolved past bronze, but how about silver? We wasn't yesterday. We was real bronze yesterday. Okay, in this chapter, you use methods like union and intersection to create new sets. Yes. Sometimes you may prefer to modify. Sometimes you may prefer to modify an existing instance instead of creating a new one. Yeah. Look through the set documentation and rework the examples in the chapter for union and intersection using methods that mutate the set directly. Okay. Well, minimally we know that our lets will become vars. But I'm trying to, where is oh, union here. Union and intersection. So you want me to work with these? Yeah. All right, brother. We can do it, I think. So let's go to help because we need help. We go to the developer documentation. And you want me to, god damn, that's bright. Ain't no white like apple white. Apple white. Sometimes you may prefer to look through the set. Oh, set, right, set. Dupe set. Boom. We tried to search yesterday and it was, it wasn't really giving. Okay, good. Today was good. In unordered collection. So, but what we want to do is, in place of, or in place modifications. So, oh wait, why isn't this? This should be over here. There we go. And I just collections. Where is that at? Collections. No. Collections. Swift standard library. Yeah. Okay, that's where I'm at. And then collections. Where's that at? Son of a gun. Seems ridiculous. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore the sidebar because it's not doing much for me right now. Let's just look at, okay, so here's sets. Set operations contain subset, superset. Oh. Method to test whether a set contains a specific element. Method to test whether all oh, okay. So we got, okay, that's not correct. So this This is not correct. So that should have been is superset of, which would mean it contains at least minimally everything in your cities. My cities would contain everything in your cities. So turns a bool indicate whether. What, pray tell, is Miss Oracle? Define or explain the difference between a strict and a superset in Swift. Of set theory, Jesus. Which also, right? Superset. A set is considered a superset of another set if all elements of B are also elements of A. Okay. This relationship is inclusive, meaning A can contain additional elements not in B, or it can have the exact same. Okay, so either equal to or contains all in addition to. Okay. Strict superset. A set is a strict superset of another set if set A contains all the elements of set B and at least one additional element that is not B. That is not in B. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, so okay. Because superset can also mean a clone, basically. So it can still qualify as a superset if it's just equal to, has all the same elements of B. Whereas a strict superset contains everything in B, but also has elements not in B, thereby making it unique. Well, unique in relation to what it's being compared to. Important distinction. Okay. In summary, the key distinction is that a superset includes the possibility of the two sets being equal, non-strict, while a strict superset requires that the superset has additional elements. You see what I'm saying? Like, you would think, and then maybe this is just me, but I would have thought, you know, the reverse would be true. It would just sound better to me. If it's strict, if it's a strict superset, then that would just represent equality across all elements. And if it's not strict, then it can mean maybe it's equal and maybe it has more. But that's not the case. It's the opposite. So I guess they're applying the strict to the nature of it being a superset and not applying it to, but it doesn't matter. Once again, just yet another thing you need to be aware of. It's just knowledge. That's it. Okay, so is superset of got an extra guy here. Okay, now we get the bool, yeah. And it was true. Wait, it's true? Chicago, Denver, Jacksonville. Chicago, Denver, Jacksonville. Oh, okay. That is true. And so then is strict would also be true, yeah? Should be. is strict superset. True. Okay. All right. We have still maintained our bronze status. Okay, and we have redeemed ourselves by fixing that. Now we come back to sometimes you may prefer to modify an existing instance instead of creating a new one. Look through the set. Oh, yeah. Right. So we were looking through the docs. This is actually, okay, yeah, yesterday I was hunting through the sidebar and that was definitely the wrong way to go. This is better. I like this view. This is nice and neat. Okay, so we want to do in place of, maybe there's like a, in place of, I don't know, but we know we want to make it a var, and bridging between, no, creating, inspecting, adding, removing, combining, comparing, accessing, finding, transforming. That's what we want. Transforming, yeah. Maybe there's a better, nope, transforming. Okay. Returns an array containing the results of mapping the given closure over, what? Func, compact map, returns the result, var lazy, a sequence containing the same elements as this sequence, but on which some operations such as map and filter are implemented lazily. If you guys don't know, lazy evaluation just means, it's not a Swift specific thing, but the term lazy is again one of those kind of funky terms, because lazy is a good thing. Lazy means that you only evaluate your expressions when they're used, not at runtime. If it's not lazy, then you evaluate all your stuff when your program starts, which can take longer. Lazy eval is just it's more efficient. It can create some, it doesn't even matter. Just know that that's what it means. So the vast majority of the time when you hear lazy in relation to the programming domain, it's referring to what is widely held as a more efficient way of or a more efficient implementation of your code, because it's not running something wastefully. It's not using compute resources to run a computation that the user of your program does not need yet. So similar to, we talked about just-in-time inventory, this is a just-in-time evaluation. It's only going to run when it's called upon. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure which performing collection operations, encoding, decoding, describing, set reference types, supporting types, infrequently used. Man, there is just so much stuff. It's pretty incredible. The fact that, oh, and by the way, I told y'all this a few streams ago, but just so you're aware, and don't worry, I checked already, so it's not going to detract from what we're learning now. But there's a big Swift language update coming in September. So we're at 5.10, 5.10. Version 6 is coming September of this year. And but what you should know is, if you're already using 5.9 or 5.10, then the new stuff that's being introduced in 6 is already available to you in the version, like the version we're using. You would just need to, run a few or flip a few flags, basically. So what does that mean? Well, it just means that certain features of the language that are not turned on by default now will be in 6. But as far as I could tell, the vast majority of that pertain to concurrency. So it's supposed to help improve, you know, things like data races and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a big push for continuing to improve Swift on the server. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Yeah, I don't know. Just FYI, I just thought about that whenever I was reading this. But yeah, I'm not seeing, or it's not obvious. I'm sure I'm probably just looking right at it. But adding elements, removing, combining. Well, what did we do first? What did we do for, not that, this. var. It shouldn't matter, but I wonder if, does it let me do it with all of these? Okay, no impact there. But how do we? Look through set documentation and rework the example. So something like that, but it modifies it in place. Okay, so now this would be a good opportunity to kind of look through this and see this little code snippet thingy that I told you about, because this would be a good example of just needing some guidance on like what syntax you could possibly use, right? So let's look at, do we see sets? No. Where's collections? Come on now. Simple types. In here, yeah, no. Number strings. Come on, brother. Structures, simple types. Okay, fine. How about here we go. Is that where it is? Simple. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, operations. Or third, first union. Subtracting, intersection, symmetric difference. These are all the ones that we saw. Mediator. Can't be that because we haven't even touched class or protocol yet. Adding and removing. Var, set character, set, insert, remove. I don't know. Is there a replace? I don't see. Comparison. Converting. Oh, to a map. That's not what I want. State? No. We'll give it one more. Sets. I don't really see it. Inspecting, testing, adding. All right, fuck it. I mean, I have to explain myself to you guys. What am I saying? No, I mean, I want to look around for it, but I have a feeling, is it just changing it to var? Because I'm like, why? Why is it not more obvious which methods do an in place? Var is the only thing I can think of here, so let's just get the answer. New chat. Given these requirements and code below, how can I change the implementation to update the sets in place instead of, or I'll use their terminology, to mutate, to change something. To mutate the sets directly. Pow. And then we'll give it our little here, friends grocery list. Shared list. Okay. Okay. What do we got? Form union and form intersection. Form union and form. I feel like I didn't see that, but I probably did. I just didn't notice. There it is. Okay, form. And form union inserts the elements of the given sequence into the set. How the fuck would I know whether or not that is updating it in place or not? Come on, brother. No, there probably is a way, so I'll have to ask it. But I don't know. Oh, well, okay. I guess you can look here, because if it's mute, so by default, when you're talking mutability versus immutability. So take, for example, OCaml, like a functional programming language. Their whole thing is everything's a function and everything's immutable. So you don't have to deal with things like nil, because there is no nil. You can't have nothing as an output. Everything returns something. And so their default oftentimes is immutability. And you've seen this kind of paradigm. Now, don't take that as a, it's not a, what's the term? What's the word? It doesn't fix everything. It can get incredibly slow. Because when you're talking about immutability, you're also, most of the time, also talking about making a lot of copies. Because if you make an object and you say, I can't change it, I'll just create a new one. Well, that takes resources, and you're always creating these clones and shit. So, but safety is worth something, right? And that can eliminate a whole score of different runtime errors. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just Google common Python, JavaScript, Clojure, any dynamic language. Go just do a quick Google search and you'll see why there's so much fuss about this all the time. But yeah, so in this case, in Swift, if you are going to mutate something, you have to be explicit. And so we can look and see, okay, this is a mutating. And we know that if it's mutating, then that would, in this case, correlate to in-place update instead of creating a new instance. All right. Parameters. Other. A sequence of elements. Other must be finite. Discussion. If the set already contains one or more elements that are also in the other, the existing members are kept If other contains multiple instances of equivalent elements, only the first okay, so that's that uniqueness that gets applied. Yeah. Okay. Then I won't go ask because that's how we can tell. So I am hot dog sure of that. So then in that case, bum, 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 bum. Form union and wait, what? I didn't see the other. Oh, there it is. It just wasn't popping up. Okay. What are you telling me? Variable, duplicate items inferred to have type, which may be unexpected. Add an explicit type annotation to silence this warning. Oh, that's okay. Okay. Well, wait, so this will create a new one. Shared list. Or no, that's okay. Okay, so I mean, we found them. We found them. It's still a bit, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little, it's I mean, I get the in-place update and whatnot, but like in the throw of like writing code, I do often wonder, like this stuff is actually, it's probably understated how important it is, but the problem is that when it comes to writing performant code, I think most of the time it's overstated in terms of how people, they will opine over, or not opine, they will labor intensely over optimizations that really don't matter because you ain't got no users yet. What are you optimizing for? But this stuff becomes incredibly important once you get down the line, because you don't want to get to a point where you're writing like all this shitty code. I'm moving fast. A lot of JavaScript applications find themselves in this kind of scenario but they have a much bigger problem because they can't just write more performant code. They need to rewrite it in something else that's not JavaScript. But in this case, I'm just saying it would be a challenge to pick up on these things. Like where is it appropriate? Where does it really slow me down? Unless you just did like a devilish amount of testing, because this stuff would compound. So it might not be very evident or even needed to use one over the other. Making copies of things might, be entirely fine, and it's a wash whether or not you use form union, form intersection versus union and intersection. That's all I'm saying. So it can just be hard to detect when it's needed and the benefit of. But hey, we got the option, so that's great. Okay. Oh, no gold, just silver. All right. Well, we have reached. Oh, buddy, functions. This will definitely be a different stream. We're gonna pick this up tomorrow, but I'm excited because once we get through functions, we can start. Well, we're not gonna start building stuff, but I'm just saying. If you were just learning something, and we got this far into it, this will give us all the primitive building blocks to go and use the language. So that's exciting, because now all of the examples should be likely more more complete. And then amongst ourselves, we can start talking a little bit, higher level and combining things. So this will be fun and a little scary. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you'll come back and again and again and again, and then work for me a year from now. And we'll make each other a lot of money and not annoy each other. That's all I ask. Okay, so guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on tomorrow for episode 12. Episode 12. And as always, if you happen to be a fan of video games, or just a fan of me, or you just want to look at me or hear me sing or hear my jokes, I know I'd be killing on the mic. Not really. But tune into my Halo stream. I'm doing 100 days of ranked Halo. That happens from 9 p.m. to 11ish. 9ish to 11ish every day, Central Time. 9 to 11ish p.m. Central Time. So tune into that. If you're watching on X, it's on this same account. If you're watching on YouTube, then it's Nico X Gameplays. See it? Nico X Gameplays. That's where you'll find me. Okay? So do tune in. Drop a like, drop a sub, drop a nub, donate. Fill up my Kickstarter. You know what I'm saying? And I love you guys, and I'll see you guys later. I don't know you guys. I don't know why I said that.